Hoorah.
got scared by that, huh? So did I. You can talk softly amongst yourselves. We're going to start promptly at 12:15. Thank you.
All rise.
Thank you.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. This Circuit Court of the 11th Judicial Circuit in and for Miami-Dade County is now in session. The Honorable Judge Nushin Safety presiding. All persons having business before this court, come nigh and you shall be heard. God save the United States of America and this honorable court.
Thank you, Lair. Welcome, everyone, to the investiture of the Honorable Ariel Rodriguez as Circuit Court Judge of the 11th Judicial Circuit of Florida. Please remain standing as we ask some very special guests to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. These are Judge Rodriguez's 4 children: Andres, age 15, Santiago, age 14, Daniel, age 11, and Elena, age 9.
Yeah, I guess okay.
So you start?
A pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remain standing as we ask another very special guest, our invocation speaker, Deacon Antonio Perez from the Corpus Christi Catholic Church. So when we do the worksheet, the judge always has to describe who the person is, what the relationship is. And on this one, Judge Rodriguez had filled out Myra's husband. And I'm like, I was kind of confused. I'm like, Myra, my Myra? And so welcome to Deacon Perez, who happens to be my former JA, Myra Perez, who retired less than a year ago's husband. So he was kind enough to point that out to me. So welcome, Deacon Perez, and thank you very much.
As we do the invocation here today, I want to remind everyone of the prophet and King Solomon. And his request to God was to give him the wisdom to be able to rule over the people and being able to know the big difference between right and wrong. In that same spirit, we pray today. Dear Lord, as we gathered here today, we ask you to bless Judge Ariel Rodriguez with the wisdom and the graces needed to carry the duties of this judicial office. We ask that in this, his investiture today, that he receive it as an honor to serve and not an accomplishment to be recognized. May he always know that you brought this day to pass for the good of all through him. May the title of honorable be known to him daily, not as a title of excellence, but rather as a title that honors his character and the judicial office in which he will serve. May you, Lord, never let his heart forget as he approaches the challenges of this office daily, that our prayers will walk up with him to the bench every day. We ask this through our Lord Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Deacon Tony, and welcome back home, Myra. She's out there somewhere. Everyone, please be seated. And on this very special day, we have many, many guests joining us. A packed house today, which is great to see, especially in spite of the rain. I'm going to announce all the names, and please, I want to say hold your applause, but I know you're not going to, so go ahead and applaud. Some of these guests are with us in person, and some of them are with us virtually. So, we have from Commissioner Kevin Cabrera's office, an alum of the 11th Judicial Circuit of Florida, Sonia Castro. Hi, Sonia. And we have Commissioner Keone McGee. I don't believe he's here, but he might be here with us virtually. We have Commissioner J.C. Bermudez. I think I saw him here. Thank you so much for being with us, Commissioner. Vicki Mendez, City Attorney from City of Miami. Linda Julian, Councilwoman from the City of Miami Gardens. From the City of Sweetwater, Commissioner Ian Vallecillo. I don't see her, but she might be with us virtually. 3rd DCA and also alum of ours, Judge Monica Gordo. From the American Board of Trial Advocates, the Miami-Dade chapter, we have Sean Cleary. From the Caribbean Bar Association, we have, do we have anyone here from the Caribbean Bar Association? I thought we did. Okay, no, but I'm sure they're with us in spirit. From the Colombian American Bar Association, Adriana Santiesteban, the president. And Alexander Leon, past president. From the Cuban American Bar Association, we have Augusto Pereira and Daniel Buigas. From the Florida Association of Women Lawyers, Miami-Dade chapter, we have Veronica Mesa, director. And I think I also saw Marianne Ruiz, one of the board members. We have Stephanie Vega Graves, board member of the Miami-Dade Trial Lawyers Association. From the Florida Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, Miami-Dade chapter, we have Kevin Hellman, immediate past president. From the Miami Catholic Lawyers Guild, we have Francis Sexton, the president. From the Miami Lakes Bar Association, we have Trinette Zarin. Miami-Dade County League of Cities, we have Richard Cooper, the executive director. And someone who needs no introduction, president of the South Florida Police Benevolent Association, Stedman Stahl. And I think I also saw Wilfredo Ferrer, past U.S. attorney, a bunch of other titles. And if there's anyone that I forgot, I am sure someone is going to start texting me, and I will promise to get to you before the end of the program. Let me also introduce the members of our Greater Court family. On behalf of Public Defender Carlos Martinez, we have Teresa Enriquez. On behalf of our State Attorney, Catherine Fernandez-Rundle, we have Marie Jo Toussaint. On behalf of Regional Counsel, Jean Zanobi, we have Brian Curlew. And our newly minted Clerk of Court, we have Louis Montaldo. And finally, supporting our day-to-day operations on the court, we're honestly nothing without our administrative office of the courts, which keeps us moving forward in spite of rain and, whatever's gone on in the last 3 years. They've kept us going. So thank you to all of them. They're represented here today by Mary Woolley Larea. And also our Office of General Counsel, Pat Gladson. The incredible IT and AV team that not only make this available to you all here, but also will be forever enshrined on YouTube. Great. For those of you that want to see it again and again. Thank you to them. And to our Public Information Officer, Eunice Sigler. She's our wedding coordinator. And to my staff, my new judicial assistant, Kayla Ponte, who's hit the ground running. And my bailiff, who you all know, Larry Chester. And now for remarks on behalf of the Florida Bar, we have a friend and distinguished attorney, also past president of the Cuban American Bar Association and incoming president-elect. Are you president-elect? President-elect-elect? Designate. President-elect designate? He's going to be president at some point in the future. Roland Sanchez Medina.
I was told that these get easier the more you do, but I think I'm the exception of this, the rule. May it please the court, Chief Judge Safey, your honors, and all the distinguished guests and VIPs are here today. It is both my honor and my pleasure on behalf of the 112,000 members of the Florida Bar, that's right, 112,000 members, and of course the most here in Dade County, to be here on this beautiful ceremonial courtroom to bring greetings on behalf of the Florida Bar in my role as President-elect designate of the Florida Bar. Roland Sanchez Medina, President-elect designate of the Florida Bar, just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? As President-elect designated, I want to personally welcome everybody who has come here today to congratulate and celebrate here with Judge Rodriguez. Thank you to the members of the bench and the bar, along with Judge Rodriguez's friends and his family, his beautiful wife Claudia, the four children. Love the interplay of who wants to have the mic and who doesn't want the mic. To celebrate this monumental occasion. And so, you know, as I stand here on floor, as President-elect designate, I also am fortunate to be very good friends with Ariel Rodriguez. My wife and him worked together for close to 20 years. And so, you know, summarizing Ariel, and I got this from his campaign literature, right? Born and raised in Miami-Dade County. It doesn't say that he was born and raised in the city of Hialeah, which I think is a distinction, and it's something that needs to be repeated. 24-year licensed Florida attorney, federal government attorney, Cornell University alum, Notre Dame Law School alum, Monsignor Pace High School alum, probably most notably. Participated in the Florida Guardian Ad Litem program. One of his passions, he's a high school and college football referee. Obviously married with 4 beautiful children and a beautiful wife. And of course, like I said, colleague to my wife for over 20 years. What this doesn't say, though, is that he also has the courage and the boldness to run a successful campaign. I believe I hosted his first fundraiser in my office, and I remember thinking, it was probably 18 months before the election, maybe a little bit more, how difficult campaigns are, how they're a marathon, not a sprint, and what an incredible grind they are. But I also do remember that Ariel accepted that nothing easy is worthwhile, and nothing worthwhile is easy. How gritty he was, how hard he worked, and for him, how much the community and his friends and his family helped him and assisted him and brought him all the way home. And there's also something else that I can add about Ariel. And this I mean from the heart. He's generally one of the nicest, best people you can find. Just a man's man, a wonderful human being, the kind of person that you give your kids to, and when you get them back, they'll be smarter and nicer. And it's with my honor and a privilege to welcome him today on his investiture to the bench. And because I love the mic so much, I also want to give them this plaque as a former president of the Cuban American Bar Association.
Thank you, Roland. Before we get to our next speaker, I think we also have Mike Davis from FACDL Miami. There he is. And this is a new one. I actually have somebody who texted me saying, "Hey, Nushin, I'm watching this on YouTube." So thank you to former judge, retired Judge Izzy Reyes, who's watching us on YouTube. He also said we look great. So that's the confidence we need on a day like today. All right. And I also noticed out there, and I forgot to say, we have also retired Judge Celeste Muir, who's here. And we know she's here for Judge Rodriguez, but she might also be here for our next speaker. So for remarks on behalf of the Miami-Dade Bar Association, we have a friend and another distinguished attorney, past President Jane Muir, and daughter of Celeste Muir.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was also at Roland's office for that first fundraiser with Mr. Ferrer, our former U.S. attorney. So I proudly supported Judge Rodriguez from the very beginning, and I'm so glad to be here today. May it please the court, judges, friends, and family. Football is a goal-oriented activity. The object of every game is delivering the ball into the end zone, earning more points than the other team, and ultimately winning the game. Rules establish what actions are permitted or not, creating inefficiencies and obstacles that define how to play the game well. Fairness, ethics, and morality are as much at home on the football field as on the pages of Plato. Because some players will intentionally violate the rules to gain a competitive advantage, we need referees, like Judge Ariel Rodriguez. Born in Hialeah, I'll repeat it for you, Roland. Judge Rodriguez was raised loving football. He's been a Miami Dolphins fan all of his life, even while he was a student at Cornell University and the University of Notre Dame School of Law, where Miami fans are hard to come by, although not impossible, because I saw Tom Gamba was here, and I know Judge Moreno and Judge Thornton and Wilson are also Notre Dame fans and graduates. He began serving as a referee 15 years ago and has served from the youth leagues up to the college level. Although we all know Judge Rodriguez is a nice guy, he has experienced parents screaming at him or even following him to his car to complain about his calls. The typical level of disrespect shown to referees on the football field has given him a thick skin. Even so, he loves being with the kids. Serving as a referee has helped him to learn to bite his tongue, and he feels it has made him a better person. No doubt the skills he exercises as a football referee translate well to managing the sibling rivalry among his children, Andres, Santiago, Daniel, and Elena. His wife, Claudia, is used to the noise and activity of a big family, since she is also one of a 4-child family. But Judge Rodriguez had to adapt from man to zone defense. Although they may be difficult from time to time, they're healthy, diligent kids who always get great feedback at school and elsewhere. Refereeing football has also helped Judge Rodriguez become acquainted with and appreciate the diversity of our community. He's had the opportunity to visit the most impoverished communities and the most affluent, seeing the growth of our dynamic city. Some do not like how Miami has so much going on, so much development, and so much political division. It's true, you either love Miami or you hate it. But Judge Rodriguez loves Miami, and he's willing to put in the work to make our community better. Plato noted, "He who is only an athlete is too crude, too vulgar, too much a savage. He who is only a scholar is too soft. The ideal citizen is the scholar athlete, the man of thought and the man of action." We are fortunate to have an ideal citizen and scholar athlete like Judge Rodriguez serving as a referee for us in the 11th Judicial Circuit on the bench. And so on behalf of the Miami-Dade County Bar, we present a ceremonial Bible and this commemorative plaque of the 1972 Miami Dolphins. We welcome the Honorable Ariel Rodriguez to the bench, and thank you from the 19,000 attorneys of the 11th Judicial Circuit for your service to the legal community. Thank you.
All the new judges start and they have nothing to put in their offices and they have to wait till their investiture, and then this is the day where they walk away with all the judicial swag. So today you have your, and actually there's a new, is this the new vendor yet? I don't know. There's a new vendor now, so these might look different, but it looks right now, it looks the same, because I know that everyone covets this one, so let's hope it doesn't change too much. But you've got your desk plaque from the Conference of Circuit Court Judges. You have a nice plaque for your wall from the Florida Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. You have a, I think it's going to be crystal. I haven't opened it yet, but it's from MD, Florida Association of Women Lawyers, and from the American Board of Trial Attorneys Miami chapter. And then, of course, the one from Caba, and you got some football swag to hang up there, too. That's important. So you're all good to go. Now for personal remarks on behalf of the judge's family and friends, please welcome Judge Rodriguez's better half, the mother of these 4 very cute kids, his wife, Claudia Rodriguez.
I know myself, so I need these. Thank you, Your Honor. In the almost 20 years that Ariel and I have been married, so much has changed for us. But one thing has definitely stayed constant, and that's his desire to become a judge. And today, I'm so happy that you all came here to witness this fulfillment of his dream. Throughout the past 2 decades, we've certainly had our share of wonderful moments, joyous moments like the birth of our children, and we've had our share of difficult moments, sad moments, which I think are a normal part of everyday life, of anybody's life, really. But the last year has definitely been quite the ride for us, quite the wild ride, actually. And it's brought a lot of joy and a lot of challenging moments in the mix. So in the midst of a disappointment time, actually, for Ariel, he actually approached me with the idea of running for judge. And I wasn't exactly surprised, because I knew that this was a dream of his. But to be honest, I was very hesitant, because I am not the type of person that likes to stand in front of people. And I knew I would lose some of my, I would no longer be anonymous. But I love you, and so I'm here to speak. So we went ahead and we spoke to our children, and we explained what he wanted to do, and we answered questions that they had. And we went ahead and we all gave him his blessing, and so started the endeavor. And I loved him so much that I spent a better part of the year driving around in my car with his face plastered all over my car. And my children actually got picked up in my father-in-law's roving billboard for over a year, which they did not love, but they did. So I'm really happy that, that type of promotional effort was not done in vain, and it obviously brought us here. So I knew this was going to be a new adventure for our family, but I always thought, I'm a type A personality, I thought that I would have some sort of control, and I should know better, because life has a way of reminding us that we don't have control. And so when we started this whole endeavor and this whole experience, there were a lot of emotions that we felt as a family and individuals up to that election day. Some moments were exciting and some very stressful, but some were downright exhausting, to be honest. And this was felt by all of us, my children and my in-laws, and of course Ariel. But throughout the whole process, I can honestly say that I saw how much my husband grew. I saw how hard he worked, and I saw how he stepped out of his comfort zone. I saw how, even though very exhausted at times, he was present as much as possible for us as a family. And I definitely saw how much he grew in his faith, which I'm so thankful for. The kids and I were very proud of you. But we're mostly proud of how courageous you were to pursue your dreams, your tenacity, and your dedication to this whole process. I know your parents are also extremely proud of you. And they set a wonderful example for you growing up. And I'm happy that you are setting that same example for our children as they grow up as well. They see the importance of setting a goal and working hard and to achieve that. And I'm very thankful for that they have you as a dad. And they asked me to relay a couple of things on their behalf. As you can see, they weren't exactly thrilled to be up here either, so. So Andres says, remember your value, life, truth, justice, love, and peace. Life is a highway, but you will always have God and your family besides you. And he reminded you that Jeremiah 29, verse 11 reads, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and future. And Santiago said, continue discovering yourself in a new chapter in your career as a judge. I'm proud of you. And Danny said, "Hey, Bobby, I really think it's cool that you got this job." Being a judge is a great profession. I really think you'll turn out to be a great judge. Just remember to use your gavel during your court cases. And from Elena, she said, "Hi, Bobby. It's awesome that you got this job. I hope you keep doing a great job, keep working hard, and thank you for all you have done for us." So now, honey, the real work really starts now, and I pray that you will always bear in mind Leviticus 19, verse 15. "You shall do no injustice in court. You shall not be partial to the poor or defer to the great, but in righteousness shall you judge your neighbor." And I thank you all for your prayers and your constant support for both Ariel and myself.
That was great. If I ever have any trouble with you, I'm calling Claudia and the kids. And now, for further personal remarks on behalf of the judge's family and friends, I feel bad that you have to follow that. His friend, Osvaldo Padilla.
He got me. May it please the court, the judges, the family, friends present, and anyone who may have wandered off the street and into this courtroom. This is awesome. Being here, it's pretty sweet, man. This is your job now, huh? This is terrific. A lot of times the people who give this speech are, lawyers, people in the legal profession, people of a certain sort of legal pedigree. I'm a general contractor and a former writer and journalist, but the significance of this place, of this institution, isn't lost on me. The American courtroom is the holiest of holies and of the American experience, and we're lucky now to have Ariel Rodriguez presiding in one of those courtrooms for us. Ariel and I have been friends since kindergarten, and we met on a baseball field. And so for my kindergarten mind back then, like, I used to think, I'd get on a ball field and it was us, my team, and then there was the enemy, the other guys, and I wasn't very well socialized yet. And so Ariel, I was playing second base, and Ariel got onto second base, and here I am. I'm like, okay, here's the enemy, and he looks at me with this grin, and he's like, "Where do you go to school?" And we start talking, and by the time he left second base, we were friends, and here we are. So, but it was an important lesson because, you can either go through life all guarded and defensive, or you can look at it and come at it with a sense of kindness and curiosity and engagement. And that's who Ariel Rodriguez is. He sees the good in the world and the good in people. So I have a lot of Ariel stories. I've known him for a long time. I have this whole notebook filled, and if you guys have a few minutes. But he's a compassionate guy. He's wholesome, with a big sense of humor. He's trusting, a stickler for the rules, the straightest arrow I know. There are some other old friends here today, some people who went to grade school with us and went to high school with us at Monsignor Pace. And they all know that Judge Rodriguez was kind of quiet, very humble, not a braggart. He was never in it, never doing anything he was never about notoriety, absolutely never about money. He was just about doing what he was called to do, always knowing his calling, and being that straight arrow, that guided missile. But because he was so humble, he always managed to surprise us. And so, you know, when he said, "Hey, I'm going to Cornell," we were like, "You're doing what? You're going where, huh?" We had no idea. And then Notre Dame, you're what? Like you're smart. All right. All right. But he was never boastful, you know? And when he returned from his clerkship in Alexandria, Virginia, with the Honorable Stephen Mitchell, who's here, and he said, "I'm going to go run a marathon." Run a marathon? What are you doing? Like, we had no idea that he could do these things, but whenever he set his mind to it, he just quietly did what you had to do to get from point A to point B, and he got it done. And it's always been very inspiring. And then about a year and a half ago, I get a call, and he says, "Hey, I'm going to run for judge." I said, "Good, I support you. I'll do anything you want, man." And then I hung up, and I was like, "Ariel, really? You're gonna run for judge? Like, do you know what that takes? Do you know the amount of hard work?" And again, like, he's never been, like we were just saying, he's never been a mover or shaker, you know? That's not who he is. But he grew up a simple kid in Hialeah with a great love for Miami-Dade and, yeah, the Miami Dolphins. And but then he got on the campaign trail, and I saw him just reaching out to every corner, every community in this county, and connecting with them with that sense of kindness and curiosity and compassion that I found on second base, like, 45 years ago, whenever that was. And it was the same guy, that same heart. And he's... I believe he's going to be bringing that same heart to the bench, and Miami-Dade County is better off now that he is on the bench and bringing that here to us, for us, and serving us. And so it's my honor to offer you congratulations, Ariel, because I know you're going to do some good. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you so much. I think we all can agree that a measure of a good investiture is where you learn stuff about the judge that you didn't know before. And so thank you for helping us with that. The other measure of a good investiture is when there's tears before, like, you know, before the Pledge of Allegiance has even started. And he's been crying here for a while now. I don't know if y'all noticed. And now for the oath of office and robing, I would like to ask and welcome to our court a retired U.S. bankruptcy judge. I didn't realize it was from Virginia, but from Virginia, Judge Stephen Mitchell, to please join. You all can still actually sit for this part. You all can still sit. And this is for the oath, and we welcome back up the judge's family, along with his parents, Jose and Martha Rodriguez, and his sister, Sandy Rodriguez.
There have been some wonderful speeches here today, and I'm not going to try to top those, but sometimes deja vu can be magical. And it was a little more than 20 years ago, more than I care to remember, that I last swore Ariel into an office, which was as my law clerk in the United States Bankruptcy Court for the Eastern District of Virginia. And I have followed what he has done ever since, and he's been up to visit me in Alexandria, which is wonderful. And I am so just overcome with emotion that he was able to mount this successful campaign. Believe it or not, bankruptcy judges are not elected. No one in my county would have known me. They knew my wife because she was a journalist. And all that was said was, "Oh, well, that's Sadu Mitchell's husband." But Ariel had to do something that I would never have been able to do. So I'm really delighted that he has reached this goal, because I know he has held it for a long period of time. And I also know, just from the many discussions we had when he was my law clerk, that he has a laser focus really on seeing that the law is not a game, that it reaches the right result, the fair result in every circumstance. So, without more, Ariel, if you put your hand on the Bible, or is it someone's going to hold? Raise your right hand and repeat.
One side. Sorry, wrong side. Wrong side. Wrong side. There you go.
And repeat after me. I, Ariel Rodriguez,
I, Ariel Rodriguez,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States of
the
America
Constitution and government of the United States of America
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am qualified to hold office
that I am qualified to hold office
under the Constitution of the state of Florida,
under the Constitution of the state of Florida,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of judge
the judge
of the Circuit Court of the 11th Judicial Circuit
of the Circuit Court of the 11th Judicial Circuit
of the state of Florida,
of the state of Florida,
on which I am now about to enter.
on which I am about to-
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Your Honor.
Take off the jacket. Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. It's in there. This is on video, right? I can see it.
Everyone, please be seated. And I just found one more piece of swag. I know one of your kids said you needed a gavel. Thank you to the Miami-Dade Trial Lawyers Association. You have a gavel.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. So, Chief Judge, it's my sinuses, so that's why it's been acting up. A little teary-eyed. Okay. So, Chief Judge, colleagues, family, and friends, with a special shout out to my banking friends in the audience and football referees. I welcome everybody here. I'm gonna go off script a little bit. I got a couple things I want to cover before I go on script. I had a little outline. So number one, in the last 48 hours, I've had 6 people say, "Oh, I'm really sorry I can't make it to Investiture." I'm like, "Well, why?" "Well, I'm gonna go see Taylor Swift this weekend." And that includes my sister-in-law with my only 3 nieces who decided that Taylor Swift is more important than me. So I don't think judges have power. Taylor Swift definitely does. Secondly, it's like Oswaldo said, I'm naturally an introvert, and so it's kind of odd for me to say that because the profession I decided to do is to be an attorney, right? And in addition to that, I decided to run a campaign. So I was an introvert, and, do something like that, and things like this, notoriety. Even for my 50th birthday, which was last Thursday, my secretary put a sign saying "Happy Birthday, Judge Rodriguez" across the whole hallway. That's just never been me, and but I appreciate everyone being here. And lastly, I don't know if they're here in the audience or in the overflow room. The Le Batard family, I don't know if Lourdes and Poppy is here. They're supposed to be here in case they're stuck in traffic. So if they are here, if they're listening to me, I was very appreciative that they responded to me that they're coming to my investiture. I'm not going to go into the whole backstory of the Le Batard family. You can watch that in my campaign Instagram account. I will say that my parents won the election for me. There's no doubt that my mom knows everybody in Dade County, and my dad lived in Westchester for a good month on behalf of my campaign. But I will say that Lourdes and Poppy Le Batard, who were the parents of Dan Le Batard, they're the ones that gave me that jump start to get into my campaign. So they're just the nicest people in the world, and I was very thankful that I hope they're here. And if they are here, I know there's a long line for taking pictures with the judge at the end. Everybody wants to kiss up and take a picture. I get it. But if you want a shorter line, I mean, Poppy is more popular than me. All the sports fans are going to take a picture with Poppy if he shows up here at the end. With that, again, I thank everybody. And so I am the last of the rookie class of 2022, right, of the elective judges of this past election cycle. So we've had 3 county court judges, and I'm the circuit court judge. Judge Green is also part of our rookie class, but he got appointed. That's different. So us elected officials had to do a lot of work, and I was the first one to declare, and that was about 18 months ago. And I've been coming to all the investitures. I've been to some before, but I had to come just to know what to expect, since I knew this was coming, and somewhat dreadful for me. And so I wanted to at least learn a little bit about the judges and my elected cycle. And even though all very different, I mean, Justice Marcus Bach, Alicia Provolos, and Judge Lisette De La Rosa. We all knew each other. Not Judge Bach, he was unopposed, but Lisette and Alicia, we were out there in the campaign trail, I mean, all the time. And they came in later. So I've been learning a little bit about them. Even though we're all different, we're all similar in some respects. So let me cover Judge Bach, who's not here today. He's in Japan. At least he's not with a Taylor Swift concert, but he's in Japan at least. So I gave him that excuse. And he said he was going to be listening in from Japan, but I really doubt that. Not based. So I know he's lying when he told me that, but that's fine. He can watch it on YouTube. But one of the things that caught my attention when he spoke was his mom is a former judge, and he said that he really had no desire of ever being a judge until really later on in life. And that was really me. As I was growing, I never had this urging, like some people will say, like, I always wanted to be a judge since I was 5 years old. That was never me. I really had, I'm just an East Hialeah kid, trying to figure out, where I fit in the world. When I decided to become, an attorney, when I was in law school, one of the things you got to do is apply for internships. You got to bolster that resume to get a job out there. And so I would say that there's 2 people that really influenced me in terms of being a judge late in my life. And my first internship was with the mom of Jay Muir, Judge Celeste Muir. And I would describe Judge Muir as our Betty White, if nobody understands that joke. Judge Muir looks exactly the same. Okay. So since I was her intern back in 1996, Judge Muir looks exactly the same as she does today. And she's got that Southern smile, and she's very low key. And one of the things that struck me as her intern is, she was in civil court. Civil court is the Wild West, as I like to describe it. I'm from the federal practice. We're more civil in federal court. But in civil and state court, it's a Wild West. It can be at many times. And a lot of times she will have, motion counter in chambers. We have a big, long desk, people waiting in line. And the things I heard attorneys say to her, to opposing counsel in an open courtroom, it just amazed me. If that was me in that position, had I been a judge at that point, I would put everybody in contempt. Okay? Because I just couldn't believe what she put up with. And but the way she always reacted, she was quiet. She didn't say much. She gave a little smile, made a ruling, move on to the next one. And so that kind of inspired me a little bit about, something I could do, even though it was tough. I mean, I couldn't do what she did back then. And now that I'm a judge, I got to learn how to bite the tongue. But I appreciate Judge Muir that you gave me that opportunity, and I'm glad that you're here today. So the second person, it's the sinuses. I'm sorry, it's the sinuses. Okay, I'm really sorry. So, it's funny because in court, I'm not nervous, especially when nowadays, but things like this just get to me. I'm kind of like the Representative Boehner, U.S. Congressman before. He will cry at everything. So I guess I'm like him in many respects. But the real reason why I will say I was here is because of Judge Mitchell. So I clerked with him 2 years after Notre Dame. So when I was applying for clerkships, I knew that I need to have a decent job after law school, and that one of the ways of doing it is being a clerk for a judge, especially a federal court judge. And I applied literally to 80 judges all the way from Maine to Puerto Rico, okay? And I interviewed with 12 judges because I remember each interview specifically, and only one judge gave me an offer. And that was Judge Mitchell. So Judge Mitchell is a man of honor, a man of integrity, extremely bright, 10 times brighter than I will ever be in my life. And he was so empathetic and compassionate. It really struck a chord in me. And just to show how compassionate this man is, I got to liven up a little bit for me so I could just calm down a little bit. I said the story once at Judge Mitchell's retirement party. I'm going to say it twice. I'm never going to say it in public again, Judge Mitchell. Okay, I know he's looking at me. I know he's looking at me with a maybe upset face. So when I was clerking for him, I always had to be in court whenever he's in court. I mean, that was the duty of a law clerk. And other law clerks I've heard, they just stay in chambers, write opinions all day, do research. But he wanted me there, and every law clerk there, just to learn what's going on in court, because that's where you learn everything. How the court system works, how you treat people. And one time, I don't know if it was a Monday or a Tuesday, but I remember I went out drinking the day before. It must have been with Jay Dervis, which I know he's here, one of my law school classmates, which he's from DC. And we had a very long calendar that day. And just so you know, our courtrooms, it might be double this size, extremely long. Our hallways are long. Everything just spread out. And I kid you not, in the middle of our calendar, I really had to go to the restroom. Really, really had to go to the restroom. So I said to myself, can I hold it? I wait 10 minutes, and I said, I can't hold it anymore. I have to go. So I got up, and I was thinking to myself, okay, the bathroom in our courthouse, literally is 50 yards away for the public restroom, okay? Literally. So as I was running back and thinking to myself, am I gonna make it? When I got back into chambers and the doors on the side, I said, I'm not gonna make it. So as I'm saying that, I see a bathroom right next to me. Now, just so you know, one of the biggest perks of being a judge is having your own bathroom. Not even Woody Ferrer has his own bathroom at Hall of the Night, okay? So that's one of the, even though our bathroom's a little older in state court, federal's a lot nicer, a lot more marble and things like that, but that's one of the nicest perks I would say in terms of being a judge. So when I saw that open door, I said, I gotta do it. Now, let me make clear, it was just number one, nothing else, okay? So I did it. I decided to say a little prayer. I did it. And I kid you not, I told this to Judge Mitchell, that bathroom was cleaner than it was when I went in there, when I came out, okay? So I thought I committed the perfect crime. I finished, and I was going back and going to the calendar. Again, we're in the middle of the calendar. That calendar was a long calendar. So I walk out thinking, okay, I'm going to go back to where I'm sitting next to the judge. Well, guess who's there? Literally outside of the door, in his robe, just staring at me. It's Judge Mitchell. To this day, I don't remember what I told him, but I know I was begging for mercy, okay? And I really lost track as to what I was saying, and I didn't even know what he told me, but I remember specifically at the very end, he said, don't you ever do that again. So, Judge, I thank you for the opportunity. I thank you for not firing me that day. And so that's my little story, just to line it up a little bit. So my second judge I want to talk about is Judge Lisette de la Rosa. And one of the things that we share in common, she's a girl from Alapata, and I'm a kid from East Hialeah. And basically, if you're a kid growing up in the city of Miami or Miami-Dade County, you're likely a son or daughter of a Cuban exile in Miami-Dade. And my parents came here separately from Cuba in the late 60s. They met here through friends. And as you're growing up as a kid in Hialeah, we always hear about the Cuba this and Fidel this. But as you're growing up as a kid, you just want to have fun. Like Wadi, we're playing, second base, playing baseball. I didn't really think about, Cuba politics or what's going on with Fidel and things like that. We're just trying to be kids. But when I decided to, run my campaign, I'm glad I did it because it really rekindled my connection with my heritage. I know a lot of people can complain about the Cuban exile community, and a lot of things have been said, but a lot of good has been done by the Cuban exile community, and a lot of Cubans has left in the last 40, 50 years to escape communism, and they came here, and my parents were a prime example of that. Let me give you a synopsis of some of the organizations I met. Bay of Pigs Brigade 2506, the Plantados. There's a group of prisoners. The Cuban Museum on Corway. Marcel Felipe was in my campaign committee. Is executive director there. He was also a high school classmate. And so I appreciate all his efforts. But I do want to mention one person because I thought of some biblical stories. I'm not going to be too religious, I promise, Chief Judge. I saw him in the audience. Is Dr. Luis Conte Agüero, who's sitting up front. And his story, it'll take me too long to explain, but his story reminds me of the book of Genesis. I'm not sure if everybody remember, God first met Abraham when he was 99 years old and gave him a son when he was 100. And also the story of Simeon in the book of Luke in the New Testament. God told Simeon that he will stay alive until he saw the Lord, and he lived a long life, I think for several hundred years, until I guess he saw Jesus. Now, for people who don't know who Dr. Agüero is, he's 99 years old. He's going to be 100 July 6th. And and whenever I go to his meetings, he's always got a lot of interesting stories to say, but one of his dreams has always been that he wants to be 100 years old, and he doesn't want to die until Cuba is free. That's always been his goal in life, and I appreciate his story. I think it's definitely going to be, he's going to make it to 100. He's definitely going to make it. I know that for sure, and I pray that God will give him more years. Or more, a lot more. But I do pray to God that He'll give him many more, so that we can see a free Cuba. And on that note, like I said, my parents exemplified the sacrifices that they have made for me and my family, and I wish my grandparents were here. And I'm glad they're seeing the fruits of their sacrifice. And I love you, my papi. All right, last one, I'm almost there, I promise. So Judge Alicia Provolos. So talk about a tearjerker, okay? Even though I was crying here now, I was crying at her investiture, okay? Because of all the investitures, the theme that she focused on a lot upon was family. And she had her kids with her husband up there. It was a very emotional investiture, and we both share how important our family is. So I appreciate my sisters here, my cousins, my aunts, and everyone else that's in attendance, and my godmother. I appreciate you being part of my life. For my wife, like she said, our anniversary is on May 3rd, is coming up, so we'll be doing a long weekend trip away from the kids, just to give us a little break. And but like she said, marriage is not easy, but we've had a great 20 years together. She's been the rock of our family and the rock of our children. So I love you, and I'm glad you're here. And for my kids, Andres, Santiago, Daniel, Elena, this might be hard to believe, but I know we're tough on them. We could be demanding parents, and people might say, Ariel's such a nice guy. He can't be a bad dad. He can't be a difficult dad. And so I know my kids could be, thinks that I could be very difficult and demanding, but there's a reason for that. We do it out of love. Claudia and I do this for you, to support you, to make sure that you become even better human beings than I could ever be. So I only ask 4 things for my kids, and it's really simple. Continue your faith, do good in the world, work hard, and love. And that's all I could ask. All right, so lastly, okay, almost done, okay? I'm not going to see this on YouTube, so I'm definitely not going to see a repeat. This is my moment, and I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life, so I don't need to see this again on YouTube. My kids could see it if they want. But look, a lot of speeches I've seen before, in the end, the judges will talk about, well, I'm going to do this, I promise this, I'll be this type of judge, yada, yada, yada. And I've heard this a lot in the campaign trail. What type of judge are you going to be? Even to this day, I don't know. I know there's a lot of division in our society. You're pro this, or you pro that, or you're anti this, anti that. Now that I'm in criminal court, I know the prosecutors, public defenders are trying to figure out, is he pro defense? Is he pro prosecutor? I'm neither. I'm just me. And ever since I met Wadi, I've been me. And as long as I don't let this robe take over me, I think my day will be just fine. And I've told Osvaldo, Wadi's his nickname. I told Osvaldo and my other friends that if for some reason this robe starts taking control over me or making me into a different person, they have every permission to take me in New York alleyway, beat me up, and knock some sense into me, because, we're here to be public servants. I'm not doing this for accolades or any power or anything like that. I remember I had a defendant yesterday telling me, well, Judge, you have a lot of power. And I remember telling him, it's like, you really don't know how much power I don't have. and people think that we could just miraculously do things. But, the judges that think they do have a lot of power, could exercise it, is where, you can go wrong as a judge. So I've had some great mentors. I've had great support, and I just thank everybody. And let's party.
If you ever act up, I'm just going to show you the YouTube video of you crying here the whole time. And that being said, I don't know about the rest of you, so I'm not a huge sports person, but I happen to live with sporty people, and I have twin sons who are 23 years old, so as soon as he mentioned the Levitards, I was like, that sounds familiar. I texted my kids, I'm like, Dan and Poppy Levitard are here, and my phone's blowing up right now because they want me to get a selfie with them, so I'm sure there's a lot of sports fans here, so welcome to them. That would definitely have been some VIPs would be happy to recognize. But with that, I also bring you greetings from Judge Wolfson, who's your administrative judge, and a fellow Notre Dame fan who was not here because her kids are on spring break this week, but she told me that I needed to make sure it was mentioned and highlighted often that you went to Notre Dame. We're very proud of Notre Dame. She also wanted me to mention that you've made a lot of friends at the REG courthouse because apparently you have Cuban Coffee Tuesdays. So for those of you who are in the vicinity on Tuesday afternoons, Cuban Coffee Tuesdays in Judge Rodriguez's courtroom. With that, thank you all so much for spending the day here with us. On behalf of the judges and staff of the 11th Judicial Circuit of Florida, we are grateful to you for being here. Court is now in recess. For those of you that would like to greet the judge and his family, please come down to your right, and he'll be there greeting you in just a moment. Thank you so much. Court's in recess.